Welcome back to Wine Time Mysteries, where true crime meets the unexplained. I'm Joey, and I'll be your host for today's episode, joined by the ravenous Ashley Rose. And today we delve into the chilling and unimaginable crime that haunts our modern world. It's a case that shocked the internet and blurred the lines between virtual life and reality. If you love stories that challenge reality and sanity, subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us bring you more dark stories from the realms of true crime and the paranormal. For access to our links, go to linktree/winetimemysteries. So it's November 4th in 2014 in Port Orchard, Washington.
Port Orchard?
I kind of like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Port Orchard. Well, Port Orchard is a quiet little town where life kind of unfolds at a steady pace. Not too fast, not too slow. Goldilocks zone, just right.
Sounds like that kind of town.
Almost like a sleepy little town.
Yeah,
I would love to live in a sleepy little town.
same.
Amber Lynn Coplin is a 30-year-old mother, and she lives a pretty modest life in a modest apartment with her teenage son. Amber's life, like many others in this small community, seem pretty ordinary. Unlike her boyfriend, David Kallick. Now, disclosure, I don't actually know if that's how you say his name because I haven't heard anyone else say the surname, so I'm just calling him David Kallick.
That's his name. That's how
I
it's
mean,
been
it
said.
looks like Kallick, but also at the end of the day, who really cares? He eventually releases some pretty unspeakable violence, which is why I don't care about him as a human person.
He doesn't exist.
He does, unfortunately, but in any meaningful way, he does not exist to me. So the story of the 4chan killer, as this episode is titled, revolves around the intersection of technology, anonymity, and murder. Three things that combined kind of make a triple threat supergroup that I don't want to be part of or really listen to their, hits.
Yeah, no thank you.
And in an era where social media and internet forums kind of dominate our lives, platforms like 4chan become a bit of a breeding ground for anonymous interactions, but also pretty dangerous subculture activity.
I've never been on 4chan.
I don't believe that I've been on 4chan either, but I remember hearing from my straight friends, my straight male friends, that they used to go on there like years ago, because I think it's reformed a little bit, but like years ago, and they would see images of like dead people or people having sex with animals, like random stuff, basically what Twitter is now, and a lot of that would go kind of unchecked.
Holy crap. Yeah, okay. Didn't think it was that. Okay.
But I mean, again, I never went on there, so I never got to see it. Back in my day, we had a website called Steak and Cheese, and steakandcheese.com, which I think is defunct now, also had images that you otherwise would not really be allowed to see or be exposed to. But I was like 14, I think, when I...
Yeah, ours was rotten.com.
Rotten.com. I heard about that, never visited.
Disgusting, I did.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, you're going to hell. But what's new? Now, of course, we believe that you have the right to choose up in this bish, but where there is an area that bad eggs can get together and circle jerk, they will.
Yeah, they will.
I mean, even Roblox, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, nowhere safe.
And that thing is for children.
Yeah.
And it's actually getting beside myself with that one. That's a story for another day. Moving on. 4chan, known for its unfiltered discussions, meme culture, and lack of moderation, became the backdrop for one of the most mysterious and unsettling stories in recent internet culture. But here's the question. What drives a man to commit such a brutal act and then brag about it online? And how did police manage to apprehend David before he could disappear forever?
Yeah.
So David Kallick was 33 at the time, and he had a history of domestic disputes and a volatile relationship with Amber Lynn Coplin. His friends and acquaintances kind of described him as troubled and unpredictable, which, is never good.
Yeah, all of this just does not sound like a good gem at all.
Red flag!
On the play.
His behavior had raised a few red flags before, but no one could have anticipated the horror that he would actually end up unleashing.
I'm just kind of surprised he had friends.
Anyway, so as mentioned just moments ago, 4chan is a forum-based community, and it was actually created on October 1st, 2003. So it kind of dates back a little bit when the public internet was a little more in its infancy than what it is now.
Yeah, early days.
And you'd never guess who created such a thing. A 15-year-old is the one who created 4chan, a gentleman by the name of Christopher Poole.
Get out. With an E on the end?
Yeah.
Thought so.
Poole. Voila.
15-year-old created it. That's crazy.
Yep. 4chan, where anonymity is king.
No wonder, because a 15-year-old created it.
Well, here's the thing. It wasn't created for that specifically, but it became a breeding ground for everything from memes to more sinister interactions. When it was created, however, it was supposed to be a place somewhere weebs could get together and talk about their favorite anime, post anime pictures, and toss off about it. That's just what they all did. That's originally what it was there for. And it's kind of cute.
Yeah, nice little place to get together, talk about nerdy stuff. We like that.
Unfortunately, it evolved into something else and is now known for dark humor, again, anonymity, which you're going to hear me say a million, billion, trillion times.
Can you say it 3 times?
Anonymity, anonymity, anonymity.
You're too good at it, Dal. Too good.
Not all the time. Yeah, but I can't pronounce simple words like ear.
William, billion, trillion.
Million, billion, trillion. And unfiltered discussions. So it's a place where almost anything can be shared and many lines can obviously be crossed. In general, I believe that you can post anything that is not against US law. So if it's something that may be sketchy but there's no law written in about that specific thing, then you can kind of put whatever you want up there.
Ugh.
And even then, while illegal material would be taken down, it's only removed if it was found by moderators or if it was reported by someone who stumbled across it that it made them feel uncomfortable, and then they would flag it and then it would be removed. But I tell you, if you were to get a group of perverts together that had a very similar goal and moderators didn't cotton on and no one reported it, then that stuff would be up there for a long time, or at least until it was found. So there will still be little dirty nooks and crannies that kind of need cleaning,
Yeah, I was literally about to say things would easily slip through the cracks. Wow.
And that's exactly what the 4chan killer did. Good segue. He would exploit that.
Yeah.
And he used it exactly for that. So the fact that you do have anonymity on there, the fact that you can get away with posting things that are a little bit more cryptic. I mean, some things people might look at and be like, oh, I don't think that's actually real. I think that's a hoax. I think this person's doing this for clout.
Yeah.
Anonymous interactions gave rise to threats and confessions and clues that were sometimes dismissed as pranks and hoaxes by authorities and public figures and just the regular Joe blogs.
Because how would you differentiate?
How would you differentiate? How would you know?
Yeah. Because you
again,
could, literally have someone up there wanting to create a story to get...
Yeah. To get clout. So it's November 4th, 2014.
Ooh.
And the day, I guess you could say it began like any other day, right? You wake up, you go to work. Ooh. Where am I going with I don't even know what I'm doing.
Working 9 to 5.
What a way to make a living. Barely getting by. Don't do this to me because I will keep going. I won't stop. I'm
here for it. Won't stop, can't stop.
Won't stop, can't stop, game stop. Amber's son left for school and he left her alone with... Is that like Klingon?
I think so. I'd guess so. I guess so.
I guess so. What happened next is pieced together from some of David's own confession and the forensic evidence that was left behind. So, according to David, an argument erupted between him and Amber, which escalated into violence. Now, remember, this man has a violent past with not just her, but also other people that he had been involved with romantically and non-romantically. He was a troubled, violent person, but he's saying it kind of escalated to that from an argument. She probably just said no to something dumb and little, and because he's abusive and aggressive and violent,
you just need one little thing to tick him off.
So he strangled her and later admitted that it took longer and required more effort than he had anticipated.
Yeah, people don't realize how long it takes to actually snuff someone out.
Correct.
Strangulation.
Like, he spoke about it now, but he also writes that on 4chan in a little thing, and I'll tell you more about that shortly. He then bludgeoned her with his fists, ensuring that she was actually dead.
Okay, so he strangles her.
He strangled her. He was pretty sure she was dead. And then he laid into her with his fists and bludgeoned her with them.
Yeah, wow.
In her face and, I believe, surrounding body parts.
Because that's pretty intense. You've strangled someone, that takes a while. Then to have that rage still, to then do that. Okay.
There's decision behind that.
Yeah, that's...
Right? Most people, if they had... Because I believe that someone can have a mental break in more so situations where they are the subject of abuse for a long time, it builds up and then something happens. I'm not saying it's okay. But once they actually kill the person, they will then go into like a panic mode. They'll have regret. They'll get upset. All of that kind of stuff. He doubled down.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no... okay.
Yeah. So as if the act itself wasn't like horrifying enough, David's actions afterwards revealed a chilling lack of kind of remorse and everything else.
Yeah, like you... okay. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, also I did see a photo of this Joker and you could tell. Like, you look at him, you're like, he's a loose cannon. He would probably kill someone or touch children. Like, he looks like that kind of person.
Yeah, it's a bit scary to be in a relationship with someone who looks like that.
So after he bludgeoned her, I believe already deceased body, he then decided that he was going to stage her body, you know, as if it's not enough that she's dead. Now he wants to kind of embarrass her a little bit. So he staged her body in her bedroom where he had murdered her, and he placed her in a what they refer to as twisted position. I don't know if that is indicating something sexual or if that's indicating that he twisted. I don't know, because there are certain parts I haven't delved into super deep because, one, I kind of don't want to put information that's super graphic in this episode, but I also don't want to be subject to that because it's all about protecting my energy this year, and I'm going to keep some things out.
And that's not it.
And that is not serving 2025. So it can stay in 2024 as far as I'm concerned. But he basically put her in a twisted position, I'm using quotation marks because I'm not sure what that was, with her head near a pillow that had the word dead scrawled onto it with ink.
Okay. This guy.
And again, that just means like, maybe, I don't know, maybe he really did just lose it because he's just killed her, put her in a certain way, now put dead over her. Like, I don't understand.
I'm going to take the moment to write dead on a pillow and then,
Maybe that's all he could spell.
All right.
He might not be firing on all cylinders, you know?
David.
He also left her driver's license displayed next to her, which they believe was a deliberate taunt to those who would later find her.
Heck is okay. I'm just
like
shooketh.
But also this guy's dumb. Like, okay, she would be found in her house, in her bedroom, in her bed.
Yeah.
Like, you would know who it is, and to help identify her driver's license is there. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand what that taunt would be. That taunt doesn't make sense to me at all.
Unless how bludgeoned her face was or some, you know what I mean? Depending
what,
on
as
how.
kind of I have beaten her beyond recognition.
Yeah.
This is what she looked like.
Yeah. That's just
maybe
weird.
Maybe to him it was like a before and after.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay.
So in a macabre twist, David decided to broadcast his crime to the world. He took several photographs of Amber's body and uploaded them to a forum on 4chan.
He uploaded pictures of her body. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That he took like shortly after positioning her in her death and stuff.
This guy's psychotic.
And the accompanying post reads, "Turns out it's way harder to strangle someone to death than it looks in the movies. She fought so damn hard."
Wow. Okay.
He also made disturbing comments about his plans to provoke the police to a shootout, or that he was going to kill himself, stating that he would spend the rest of his life in prison or die.
What a piece of poop.
So later that day, Amber's son returns home from school to discover her body. Now, I also have transcripts from the appellant court because he tried to appeal his conviction. And basically what had happened is, I believe her son, whose name has been redacted, I think he either felt sick or he felt funny and he wanted to end up going home. He went home and his mum's door was shut. So he thought that she was either not home or she wasn't feeling well. So he didn't interact with her for the rest of that night. It wasn't until the next day, I believe, that he discovered that her door was shut and it was weird and it didn't make sense. So he went in there and he found her under the cover, under the doona and stuff, and he moved the pillow and he was able to see that she was dead. And he contacted his birth father to come in and kind of...
That poor boy.
Poor kid. Trauma, right?
That is...
For the rest of your life.
Like, it's one thing to find the body, but to sit in the house not knowing that whole time, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So obviously 911 gets called and the police arrive to confirm that it was Amber and that she was in fact deceased. By this time, the 4chan post, photo and little caption had gone viral, at least in 4chan.
Yeah. And surprisingly not removed. Okay.
Well, I don't know, because also, like, it could also be a hoax. So it's kind of
Yeah, right. Staged. Yeah, you don't know how. Yeah.
You don't know how accurate it is. I don't know how long it actually stayed up for. I know other people have managed to get, like, screenshots and stuff of it that are online. And I accidentally saw, like, a very small image of it, but I could make out enough what it was. And I was like, nope. And I closed it because I didn't want to look at that. But, I mean, the good news is that it did add urgency to the police in order to try to resolve the murder. Because I think at first maybe they thought that it may have been a bit of a hoax to the authorities. So David, however, was nowhere to be seen. Turns out that he stole her car and fled.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Because he's a little worm.
I was going to say a little bitch.
I was going to say bitch too.
Little worm also works. He ended up fleeing to like multiple locations. He eventually ended up in Portland, Oregon. Along the way, as if doing this is not enough, he then starts sending text messages to Amber's family members. Disturbing text messages. And not just to the family members, to her friends as well, adding to their grief. Because already they're grieving, but this guy kind of wants to rub it all in.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That's messed up. Like, all of this is already messed up, but that is just, he's literally escalating.
Oh, yeah.
After the fact, which is, yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah. And he had a little plan because he knew he was going to get caught. I mean, he even did more posts about it on 4chan about how he's going to get caught. And he also mentioned that he was going to buy a BB gun, so not even a real gun, probably because he was broke and couldn't afford it, that looked like a gun. So his idea that he was going to commit suicide by police shooting. He wanted to basically go to pull the gun out so that they thought he was going to shoot, and then he was going to get capped by them.
To not have to deal with his...
To not have to deal with the repercussions of his crime. I think he did not want to end up going to prison.
Yeah, but then he couldn't do it himself.
You do the crime, you do the time.
Yeah.
And like, what a way to bitch out.
Yeah, wild. Okay.
So David's run from the law ended less than 48 hours later. So it was over pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Which is great. Obviously, he was in Portland, Oregon at the time. A vigilant citizen recognized him because I believe at this point his face had been up on the news, like wanted for information in connection with the murder of Amber Copland. And they called the police and then he was arrested without incident. So this gun thing that he had planned never really happened because I don't know if they caught him off guard while he didn't have it. I think maybe that's probably what happened.
That's good then.
Yeah. Frustratingly, during his trial, his defense attorney, right? And listen, I get it. If you are hired to defend a client, then you will do whatever you feel is necessary as a lawyer, bloodsuckers, to get them, either as little jail time as possible, an insanity plea, or at least to avoid them having to serve any time, like whatsoever. So his defense attorney argued that he had acted impulsively and under extreme emotional distress.
My eyes cannot roll far back. enough for that.
Yeah, but luckily for us, he put shit on 4chan, didn't he? So the prosecution countered that claim with obviously this overwhelming evidence, and it basically showed premeditation.
It's like, cool story.
But
Here's the facts.
I take you that and I raise you this.
Yeah. I can't believe they even gave that a shot.
Because they showed the photos of the crime scene that he had, set up and taken photos of, and the writing on the pillow. I think there was actually more writing on one of the blinds, I believe, but I can't remember exactly what that said. But I'm pretty sure there was writing somewhere else anyway. So in 2017, David was convicted of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Good.
And Amber's fam, although obviously devastated, they expressed that they were very relieved that he was, justice was served as far as him being taken away and his freedom being taken from him, because hers had been taken from her.
Yeah.
Because we are a true crime and paranormal podcast, we also have to ask ourselves if there are any paranormal tie-ins with this particular case whatsoever. So whether this is online, whether it is folklore, whether it is anything. But as far as 4chan is concerned, and the stuff around like the 4chan killer, and maybe even other people who have kind of also gone by the 4chan killer, like serial killers and stuff, some users apparently exchange some bizarre symbols and use a cryptic language when communicating with each other, and it suggests that there are connections to satanic rituals, dark folklore, and even accounts of ritualistic encounters. Paranormal investigators speculated whether some of the interactions on these forums were supernatural manifestations of like collective internet energy that are like, listen, I'm into my spirituality, but that sounds hippy-dippy-dippy-dippy.
Yeah, that's a bit, yeah.
So there are stories of dark visions, fleeting encounters, and unexplained incidents tied to 4chan members that hint at a strange and unsettling layer of the supernatural. So while there are no confirmed paranormal elements to this case, some have speculated about the lingering energy in Amber's apartment. Neighbors report hearing unexplained noises the weeks following her death. Could the violence that day have left some type of residual mark? So in this case, we've seen the crossover of like the digital world with reality, and it's obviously highlighted the dangers of anonymity, unmoderated forums, and unchecked communication. How do online anonymity, misinformation, and group dynamics contribute to dangerous interactions that spill into real life events? We must ask ourselves that question. The case invites us to question how the internet shapes real-world behaviors, friendships, betrayal, and ultimately criminal intent. Like, what drove David to not only commit murder, but to publicize it?
Yeah, that's very, yeah.
It's a bit weird.
Yeah, that's really taking it next level, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So, like, his behavior, it suggests, like, the deep-seated need for attention and validation, even in like the context of like a horrific violent event.
Yeah, because who does that?
A shrinking violet wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Because they don't
better post this online.
They don't want to be seen, they don't want to be known, and they probably don't want to kill somebody too,
Yeah.
This case highlights the dark side of online anonymity. I hate that word so much now. This case highlights the dark side of online anonymity, where platforms like 4chan can amplify depravity. How can society balance freedom of speech with accountability in such spaces? You kind of can't. Because then what is impeaching your right to say what you want?
Don't come for me, but especially Americans. It is my right to say this.
But you know what? You do.
Yeah.
America, you absolutely do. The right to free speech is absolutely yours. However, that does not mean that there aren't consequences for the things that you say. Say what you want. Absolutely. Have your beliefs. But there are consequences to what you say.
Yeah.
So, listeners, do you think that David would have committed this crime without the ability to share it online? Let me know what you think about that. And what do you think about the idea of online anonymity hiding dangerous intentions? And have you encountered any strange interactions on social media or on any forums that left you unsettled? Please share your stories with us. We want to hear about your encounters with digital mysteries, dark interactions, and anything inexplicable. Amber Lynn Copeland's life was tragically cut short, but her memory lives on in the fight against domestic violence. If you or someone you know is in danger, please seek help. Resources are available. Next time on Wine Time Mysteries, Ashley will explore Stephanie Lazarus, an unresolved crime, a tangled web of connections, and a shocking revelation years later. What seemed like a mystery buried in time would ultimately lead investigators closer to a truth hidden in plain sight. That brings us to the end of today's episode. Stay curious, stay alert, and remember, sometimes evil hides in shadows of anonymity, and reality itself can twist beyond recognition. Until next time, stay safe and question everything. All right, I gotta go.
Why?
It's my turn to chew crackers for gummy parrots.
What are you talking about? Goodbye.
Unlike her boyfriend, Davrad. Davrad. No, Davrad.
No, Davrad.
Build up and discharge. They go hand in hand.
Ugh.
Alright. But you gotta have friends. No?
There's a splash of the tism right there.
Oh.
Oh.
Sometimes things are clear as day in retrospect.
Yeah.
Is that it? I don't know. It sounds right.
If my psychiatrist says I've got the splash of the tism,
Whoa.
love you. Because you're Italian at heart. That's how we talk.
Oh, fist me.
You literally went like that when you said fist me.
Oh dear. Centered. I am one with the universe. The universe is inside me.
You can't do that. I was literally starting to feel censored and then
I am one with the universe. The universe is one with me.
No.
I'm calm. I'm cool. Online eminent and then I f***ed up for the first time. Whoa.
You did so good. And
I
it's like the
literally
whole way
just said
through.
I hate it and now
Yeah.
it's like, f*** this bitch.